Hey everybody, welcome to Harmon Garage. I'm Aaron. Today we're going to be on Project Long Step, and we've got a lot of fun to get going on. I've been working on it the last day or two, getting some stuff done that not really exciting or necessarily filmable. Most of it's underneath the truck, but I got our new brake lines made up to go from the master cylinder down to the proportioning valve. I got my wiring for under the hood all sorted and stretched out so I can start doing that. We've got our emergency brake pedal assembly installed, and I made I don't know how well you can see this, I can't even see the camera. In here where there's supposed to be a vent on a non-AC truck, there's a big hole there. So I went ahead and made block off plates for both sides to put in there and put weather stripping on them to seal them. I got my speaker mounts that I remade installed with the speakers. Got the speakers all wired. Underneath I got the drive shaft put in. I got a couple of sensors, oil pressure sensor and stuff put at the bottom of the motor. I welded an O2 sensor bung in the header collector to get my O2 sensor put in. For the digital gauges, one of the options to run the speedometer was a Halifax sensor that screws onto the original Speedo bullet. I got one of those, so I got it put on so it's ready to wire. Just been doing a lot of little tedious stuff that's not really all that exciting and not real easy to film. But today we're going to rebuild the vent windows and possibly start putting the rest of the glass in, minus the windshield, because one windshield showed up, it was broken. I may have told you guys that. And then we ordered a new one and it hasn't shown up yet, so we're still waiting on that. But I'm gonna try to get the back window and the vent windows and the side windows in. So we're gonna get started with that. We'll rebuild the vent windows first. I got all new glass, so I have to glue the window tracks, not the tracks, but the pieces on the bottom of the window that the regulators, rollers go into. I gotta glue those on, and then we'll start putting glass in the truck. So grab something to drink, sit down, and we'll get started. Okay, I got all my parts laid out here. Obviously I got my old vent windows. I got my new two-piece seals for the vent windows. We got new frames for the vent windows. We got new glass in here. This is the door glass. And then I have my, I'm just going to call them window tracks because I don't know what else to call them. But I took these off the original glass, and first thing I'm going to do is clean these up because I want to glue the new windows in these channels and glue the new vent windows into the frames so that they've got time to dry while I do everything else. So we're going to get these cleaned up real good, and then we'll start gluing windows in. I'm just going to take a flat blade screwdriver here, and down inside that track you can kind of see the old glue that's in there. So I'm just going to take and work as much of that as I can out of there. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see this at all, but I got pretty much all of it out of there. I'm going to take a wire brush that hopefully reaches down in there. I'm going to clean this out the best that I can. cleaned up pretty good. I got most of it out of there. I'm going to go ahead and do the other one, then I'll show you the next step. Okay, I got both tracks cleaned up pretty good. This is a one-step primer that you use for glass or like pinch welds and stuff, but it's mainly for glass if you are using like windshield butyl, which is what we're doing. If there's any bare metal, or it's not, if you got bare metal and it's not painted or nothing, you always want to use the primer before you use the butyl. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in there. I don't have to do it on the vent window frames because they're already primered. There's no bare metal or anything. So I'm going to grab a brush and we'll put the primer in here. If you read this stuff, this is Dynatrol 538 plus one-step primer for glass, rim, and pinch weld. But it says once you open it, it's only good for like I think it's 12 hours. Like once you open it, it's not good for very long. So you basically get a bottle, use what you need to, and then throw it away. Make sure we get this primered real good. And you definitely don't want to get this stuff on you. I've gotten it on me before and it does not come off. It'll basically leave when that layer of skin that it got on leaves. Doesn't smell very good either. Smells like old nail polish. Just make sure you get a good thick coat of it on there. All the way up the sides of the channel and across the bottom. Anywhere the glue's going to touch. It's one of those things that's kind of time consuming, but I'd rather take the time and do it than have the glue not stick good and you go to roll your window down and the track goes and the window stays right before it falls and breaks in the door, because that's never fun. Okay, while we let those dry, I got my new glass, which probably can't see anything but the reflection of it because it's brand new and clear. All this stuff, the new glass, the rear window, the side windows, the vent window frames and glass, and all that came from classic Chevy and GMC truck parts out of Kansas City, Missouri. It's not sponsored or nothing, we bought them, but if you guys are looking for a good quality product, this is actually really nice stuff. And you can get it in clear, no tint. You can get it with the factory greenish tint on it. And I don't remember 100%, but I think you can get it with a aftermarket style, like black tint, smoke tint on it also. But I've got my new glass here. I still have my old glass that I took out of those tracks. And I took measurements when I took them off, but it was kind of hard. So I'm going to take the new glass, set it here on the old one, or the old glass, and set it here on the new one. And you can see on the glass where that window slide was sitting. So I'm going to take the glass and mark it, so when I go to glue those on, I get them back in the exact same spot. I've got my old glass here. I'm just going to take it and set it right on top of my new glass. Then I'm just going to take a Sharpie and mark both ends where that track sat. I'm going to do this on both windows, and then we'll let that primer dry, and we'll get the vent windows ready, because once you open that butyl, you want to try to use it right away. So I'll mark the other side window glass. I'll get my other stuff ready, and then once that's dry and ready to go, I'll bring y'all back and we'll start gluing them in. Okay, I took these off a little while ago and I didn't film it, but I figured I'd let you guys in on how to get them off if you're needing to do this. When this is on the window with the original glue in there, I just took a really thin putty knife and you slide it in next to the window in the channel, and you just take a small hammer and tap it, and you'll see it start loosening up, and you just go down with your putty knife and your hammer and tap it all the way down, and it just pops it right off. So once you get it off, then you clean it up, put a little primer in there, then you're ready to glue it back on. When I took these off, sorry about all the pops, I'm working on bubble wrap here, but I marked them driver's side and passenger side and front with an arrow pointing toward the front. So I know this is the back of this glass, that's the front, and I know that the track has to be on the inside for the window regulator. So I know it's going to go like this. So I'm going to go ahead, I got it's called 3M window weld, super fast urethane. I'll put the part number in the description in case anybody's looking for it. But I'm going to put a ample amount of this in here, because if it ends up being too much, I can take a razor blade and cut it back off. But these aftermarket windows are a little bit skinnier than the factory ones, so I'm going to need this to fill in the voids in the track. So I don't want to like completely fill this track up, but I'm filling it up probably about halfway. That'll let it squeeze out both sides and stay underneath. It comes with a really small hole in the end of this nozzle. I was trying to use that so I didn't make a mess, but before I do the other one, I may cut a little bit off of the tip, make it bigger. This stuff's not easy to squeeze out. In fact, I think I'm going to do it right now. Okay, maybe that'll speed the process up a little bit. Oh yeah, it makes a big difference. Got that in there. Now we're going to take it, line it up on our marks that we put on the glass. Push it on there as good as we can. Make sure we got some butyl pushing out on both sides. Just like that. That's all the way on there, so we'll let that one sit. I don't remember what I was talking about. Somebody came and knocked on the door, and small miracles do happen, because the windshield that we've been waiting for showed up. So now we can go ahead and do all the windows in this video, which I'm excited about. So that's on there good. I'm happy with that. So now, this is our window frame. Oh, there we go with the popping again. I can't tell if that's the bubble wrap or my niece. But here's our window frame for our vent window. We got new ones of these too. I'm going to go ahead and glue we got new glass for that too. I'm going to go ahead and glue that in here. We'll do the same way we did that one. Same thing, I'm going to put an ample amount in there to make sure it fills all the voids, and then especially this, since you'll be able to see it, if I have to, I'll take a razor blade and clean it up after it dries. Just like that. Got our glass glued in. We got our track glued on this other one. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other side and go on from there. Okay, got all 4 windows done. I'm going to have to do a little bit of cleanup with a razor blade on the vent windows, but I'd rather do that than not have enough beetle in there. So those are done. Now we're going to move on to the vent windows. And we're rebuilding these. And we're going to do every piece. I'm going to show you how to disassemble them. And then we'll go through cleaning them all up, making them pretty, and then we'll reassemble them. So, I guess it's time to get started doing that. First thing we got to do here, this nut at the bottom has a little flat washer that goes behind it that has ears on it that fold up so that it doesn't, so the nut won't come loose. So we're just going to take and bend those down. Just a piece of information for you guys. The owner of this truck that I'm working on wanted all brand new windows. That's why we got new tracks in glass. If yours are in decent shape, you don't have to replace this. You can just do the seals and clean it up. We're just doing the whole thing because that's what he wanted. So once you get that ear done, I'm going to take this nut loose. I'm taking this loose now first because it's easier, but I'm not going to take it all the way off. I'm going to leave it on there so the window's still secured at this end, and then down at this end we've got a brad rivet that holds the hinge together. So we're going to take and drill that. I'll just take a drill bit from the back side here. And drill out the back of that rivet, and then you can probably, or then you'll take a, if it doesn't pop out, you can take a needle nose or something like that and pop that through. You just want to drill until the back side of that rivet comes off, because if you drill too deep, then you're drilling into your pivot point there, which will weaken that up. So now starting to come apart. Just like that. Pop that rivet out, and we can go ahead and take our nut the rest of the way off of here. Now, the new frame that I got came with this washer with the tabs on it and a new nut, but if you're not replacing those, you want to make sure you save that. You have to save this spring. There's 2 washers here. Make sure you keep track of what order these go in. These are both like a plastic Teflon washer. There's one with a normal circle in it. It's going to go on first, and then there's another one that's just half round with 2 flat sides, and it goes on second before your spring. So make sure you keep track of all this stuff when you do this. Now we're going to pop our window out of the hinge, and then it should just pull right out. Like so. So you got your vent window glass and frame out, and inside this little deal here where that goes through and bolts, there's 2 more washers. It's another plastic washer with a normal circle in it, and then there's this. It's got the 2 flat sides again, and it has a flat side on the washer. That flat side on the washer goes towards this bar on the bracket. So you got to make sure you pay real close attention so this all goes on right. And you may have more seal than this, but that's all I had left for the actual frame. So you're going to pull that seal out, and then I didn't mention this earlier, but this style vent window is a 2-piece. There's multiple different kinds. There's 3 different kinds. One's a 1-piece gasket. One's a 2-piece where this inner seal here has tabs on the back and they go through and bend over. And then there's the biggest pain in the butt, hardest style, which is this one, where this back seal here rivets on. So we're going to have to do the same thing we did over there and drill all the rivets out. And this is your window channel seal. Here, you go ahead and pull that out too, because if you're going through all this hassle, I'm hoping you're going to replace it also. It should come out fairly easily. Now, I'll try to show you this the best I can, but down in there is where the rivets are. There's one here, one here, one here, and one down here. So we're going to do the same thing we did with that pivot pin. We're just going to take a drill and try our best to take the end of the rivets off. These are brads also, just like the pivot pin one is. These brads, unless you order them from Classic Truck or something like that, they're not very easy to come across, at least for me. You can't just run to Lowe's or Home Depot or the local hardware store and get them. I can't anyways, you may be able to. So that's your inner seal that's riveted on. Got a metal backing on it for the rivet to bite. So we got that out. And we can get the rest of our seal out of here. And try not to step on the pedal for the fan saw. Okay, I got all this. That's how you take it all apart. I'm going to go ahead and get this all cleaned up, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, I got both vent windows all tore down. Got them all cleaned up, and they're over here in the paint booth. Got a coat of black paint on them. I'm going to put a couple more coats on them and keep an eye on them and try to make them look as nice as possible where you can see them on the inside and the outside. I mentioned earlier the windshield came, so we're going to be throwing that in. I've got the back window over here. Here's the back glass. I've got all the seals. So before this video is over, this truck should have all the glass in it. I'm still letting the window weld dry. I don't want to put that in prematurely and have issues, so I'm letting it set. So I think what I'm gonna do, I have to put the side windows in before I put the vent windows in. At least that's the way I do it. And so I'll probably let this stuff sit overnight and dry, and then tomorrow will be window installation day. So hang tight, and before you know it, this truck's gonna have all the glass in it. While we're waiting for paint and butyl to dry, turn this around. We're gonna go ahead and start putting the rest of the windows in. We're gonna do the back window here first, and I'll show you guys how to do that. Take our seal, lay it out, then we'll lay out our glass. Then we're just going to take the seal and put it on the glass. I got the seal put on the window. It's a little bit of a chore. And brand new seal, they're nice and tight. So now what we're going to do, take this piece of rope and feed it into the channel where the gasket fits in the cab. Okay, the reason I put that string in the gasket is that string is in where the, you gotta tilt it up some. Hold on, let me get these out. The string is in the gasket where the channel is gonna sit in the window, where the gasket goes in, I mean. So what you do is get this kind of up where it needs to be. Just push the window up against the truck like it's in. I gotta lift up on it a little bit. So we'll get this gasket started. And then I'll take my rope and slowly pull it out.
You need the ropes on the top inside too?
Not right now. And then I'll slowly pull this rope out, and it's going to put the gasket in. Sorry I didn't film the whole thing. I got a little frustrated, to be honest with you, and turned the camera off and kind of started over and forgot to turn the camera back on. But the back window is in, and it looks pretty damn good. In and out. So next thing me and my dad are going to do here is throw the windshield in, and that's kind of the opposite procedure of what the back window was. Instead of putting the gasket on the window and putting it in the truck, we're going to put the gasket on the truck and put the window in the gasket. So my dad's cleaning up the channel where the window's gonna go. I'm gonna go grab the parts and get the windshield box opened up, and then we'll get started on putting the windshield in. Okay, we got our gasket here from Precision. All the gaskets on this truck are from Precision. I like their stuff better than anything else I've used. So whenever I order, I got these through, I think, Summit, but you just look for Precision, and you can also order straight through Precision if you have a shop and set up an account. I did that one time, but I lost the information. So this is our gasket. We're going to put the gasket up in the truck, and then we'll put the windshield in, work it into the gasket, and then there's a locking strip that I'll show you here in a minute. And the locking strip goes in to hold the windshield in. So I'm going to try to get my bearings straight with this thing. Get it all straightened out. Okay, as you saw, we were working the weather stripping and it had a little bubble in it. And the reason for that is if you just go and kind of press it all in, it seems like it's too long. So I haven't necessarily had that issue before. Usually they go right in and fit good, but it's a little cooler now, so it's not, you know, they shrink a little bit in the heat. So the last 30 that I've done have been in Texas in the summertime, so they were probably hot and shrunk down a little bit already. But I managed to get it. I just kind of pulled it back and worked it in real slow and easy all the way around, and it went in. So now we're ready to set the glass in.
Yeah.
If you're using these aftermarket windshields, they're really brittle.
Go your way.
So you don't want to, watch your finger. So you don't want to really
Yeah,
like tap on them hard or anything like that. You just want to
have fun putting it in on this.
take your time and work them in easy. What?
You can have fun doing this side.
What? There we go.
You gotta put the window this way.
Yeah, you know where I put the tool? Alright, I gotta find my little chisel stick and put the window in. I don't know where I set it down at. Probably right in front of my face. Like I said, it's right in front of my face. So what I do is I start at a corner at the bottom, and I try to get the bottom in first, and then once I get the bottom and both bottom corners in, then I'll work my way up around the top. There's two channels in the windshield gasket. I'll show them to you afterwards. And the windshield goes in the inner one, and then there's a locking strip that goes around the outside to lock the windshield in. So I'm going to go and start working this windshield in, and then I'll show you guys a close-up once we get it done. If you didn't hear my dad, we're just using Sprayway aerosol glass cleaner, and it works really good as a lubricant, and it doesn't hurt paint, it doesn't hurt anything like that. If you're using it and everything's real wet and it starts to get kind of dry, just soak more on. You can't use too much. It helps make the gasket pliable and helps slide the tools through and everything else. This is where you got to be really careful, because there's a lot of pressure on the window because it's kind of pinched in there. So you don't want to make any sudden moves on it because you'll break it quickly. Ask me how I know. Huh?
You tell them the aftermarket windows aren't as sturdy as the...
Like my dad just said, these aftermarket windows that you buy, even if you get them from like your local glass guy, they're about half the thickness of the factory windshields. Factory windshields, you can take them suckers out and dang near throw them on the ground and they don't break. These break pretty easy. This is the second one we ordered for this truck. First one broke in shipping to get here. So the fact that this one showed up not broken, I'm trying to be really careful with it.
Down to its last 2 inches.
Down to the last half inch.
Yeah, there we go.
There it is. Now that's in. I don't know how well you can see it on the camera, but once you get it all the way in the grommet, it kind of moves around a little bit, and I don't want to say it centers itself, but it finds its groove. So I'm going to grab the other camera that's easier to carry around, and I'll take you guys up there and give you a close-up of what it looks like right now and what I was talking about with the locking strip and everything. So we got the windshield in, and this is what it looks like. It's got this the gasket. Brand new gaskets are always harder. I've done a lot of windshields and reused the old gaskets, and it was a little bit nicer, but if you see this split right here, there's a locking strip right here, and that, oops, dropped it. That locking strip goes down inside there and spreads that out, and it pushes this part of the seal down against the body, and it pushes this part of the seal up against the windshield to make everything tight and secure.
And then you got this little clip piece.
And then there's this little dress-up piece that goes in the center to cover the splits in the end. Because it's a new gasket, everything is super tight, which is nice. You don't got to worry about it leaking or anything, but it makes it really hard to put the locking strip in. So we're gonna lube it up really good and slide it right in there. So that's what we're doing now. Okay, so this is the locking strip tool, and you find the one that has the same shape as your strip, and then it's got this little like spade on it, and that's going to go down here in your channel, and you're going to feed your locking strip in it, and then you're going to just, sorry, I'm trying to see you guys so I can make sure I'm on camera, but you're going to walk this through there like this, and it's going to spread the gap and push the locking strip down in. So we're going to get that part done now. Alright, I got the locking strip all the way in. So you bring it back to the end, kind of overlap the other side, and then I just take a razor blade, cut them, and then I get my tool. And then there's this little beauty clip, I guess you'd call it.
Doesn't matter which way you put those on, they don't go in easy. So, work this in. Okay, next thing we got is our weather stripping felt that goes across the top of the door and down the back for the window channel. It just folds in half and sticks up in there, and it kind of bites on its own. Alright, we got that in. It goes across the top of the door and down the back of the door, and it goes all the way down the track that's inside the door down in the back. So now that I got that done, I'm going to go grab my regulator and my window, and we're going to throw this window in here. Okay, got the windshield all in and done. There's your locking strip all installed. Still got to clean it up, but kind of had my fill of windshields for today. Back windows in and done. I pulled out the side glass and the regulators to put them in, and the regulators are wrong. I've had these for a couple months. I never opened them, and these rollers that go in the track on the bottom of the window are too small. The rollers, you can just pop them right out of the track. They're not supposed to be like that. They're supposed to be tight, pretty tight. So I can't put the side windows in. The paint's not dry enough that I want to mess with it on the vent windows yet. So I can't put the vent windows in until after I put the side windows in, because that's the sequence that I use when I do it. So what we're going to do is end this video and do a part 2 that I'll try to. Today's Friday, I'll get this video out tonight. I'll come in Monday and hopefully get new regulators, and if not new regulators, I'll at least get part 2 of this video done and rebuild the vent windows so we can have a conclusion to that. But I've gotten a lot of work done. It's a lot later than I normally stay Friday night. Excuse me, I'm pretty tired, so I'm going to end this video. Appreciate everybody watching, subscribing, commenting, liking, so on and so forth. I really appreciate it. You guys are great. But that's going to do it for this video. So y'all have a good one, and I'll see you next time.